I worry about your spirit when you take pictures with money. I mean, they're dead presidents whose cabinets never have any canned goods. That would mean it's all good in the hood, and we all know it's really not. But the block is hot, and the pot just got legal, proving that the grass is greener on the other side. Ride for the homies when money is the motive, but the funds getting lower and the trees getting higher, more potent with fire. You hire liars to tell you the truth, but listen to your lawyer. He knows what's best for you. He got an inside track on how to get it back. The cars, the clothes, the hoes, who knows? You might hit a lick. Stack enough bread to get off your dick. Head in the wrong place, you chase, they race. Keep up the pace. Fast life. Ain't no time for thinking. Pussy on your mind, that's why you sinking. Couldn't figure out really what she was thinking. Money over bitches, but it's bitches over money, cause the bitches got money now. So what's your value?
I got 5 on it. I got 5 on it. I got 5 hoes, 2 times 5 toes down. All the realest niggas know now. Ain't no more money, that shit in the hearse. Tales from the crypto, we in the metaverse now. We in the metaverse now. Oh, yeah, I got y'all coin wallets and ledgers and bots and thoughts and plots. That's how all this started. Be kind to a bitch, they be cold-hearted. Think you in control, then God get started. Think God ain't in you, dearly departed. Your ass gone, dog. You gone. Dearly departed.
I got 5 on pump 5 before I got here. Hard times mean it's time to get it from the muscle, hustle, ready. We started a revolution, and now it's time for the evolution. Gather all your family and tell them to meet you at grandma's house in that small town down them dirt roads where the Wi-Fi speeds
slow down,
chop and screw like the music we listen to. 227 Mary Jenkins spreading the news, wisdom in her. All right, y'all, we back. The Bottom Up Podcast here at for Exit 36. We back, and tonight we talking black elitism in the hood. I got a special guest tonight. She's my home girl, but she also a soldier out here in these community activist advocacy streets. And as y'all know, we always start our show off with a little bit of history because you got to know where you come from if you know where you're going. So y'all check this out. We'll be right back.
Rise up above their origins and might one day be our associates.
The whole tone of this meeting is we're setting ourselves up as little puppet Jesuses. We can't help anyone else until we help ourselves. The Negro has had 2 professions, his own medicine, dentistry, law, or psychiatry, and he's had the profession of being a Negro. And many of us have come out here to escape from this second profession of being a Negro. And we are out here a while, and we're working in our own field, and then we find out that here these same problems are falling on the heels of 1,600 Negroes a month that come into Los Angeles. Now this gives us problems. It's our own view. It's our own identifying with these Negroes that are coming in with their carpetbags that causes us problems.
This is a basic embarrassment that we as Negroes have. We want to live together, yet we want to sort of scatter to the far wind.
All right, y'all, we back, and listen, I'm excited to have her here. That's why we smiling, because we've been talking already, right? I want y'all to know that this conversation is really a conversation that we have all the time, but now we about to have it in front of y'all because we think it's time to start having some conversation, right? Like real conversation.
I'm in full agreement.
I'm
full
glad
agreement.
to see you.
Me too.
I'm glad to see you, man. Listen. So, first, I want to introduce the people to who you are and, let them know about what you do and how you operate out here. When we say advocacy, community activists, what is it that you do and where you from? Tell the people.
How y'all doing, brothers and sisters? Great rising. My name is Mona Lisa Weber.
I'm from right here, Broward County, Florida.
Right.
I rep the 954 and
Yeah.
the 305
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
The 305. I haven't been in the 305 in a minute.
Okay.
So I do a lot, but my main focus is criminal justice, right? I'm the creator of Probation Station, and I advocate in court on behalf of defendants. I also was mentoring the incarcerated youth for a very, very long time, and then found myself in the world of like politics, right?
Right.
And understanding how everything interconnects. But a little bit about the work I do. I'm again, creator of Probation Station. I've been working just with communities to work on empowering them and letting them know exactly what's going on, and also like learning that some of the issues, it's because of like our lack of engagement, our lack of accountability, right? So I've just really, this whole process has been showing me like how everything actually interconnects, and politics is really, really, really important.
Right.
But I'm all about the youth. You know that.
Yeah.
I am all about the youth. I feel that we need to instill a lot of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, so history doesn't continue to repeat itself.
Right.
And I think we're in 2024, we're in a space where we're being enlightened, we're being awakened, and it's time to kind of drop the knowledge to the next generation and to the adults that are really interested in knowing what's going on, because at the end of the day, we can't do it by ourselves, right? Like, I'm out here in community, I'm out here in city commission meetings, I'm out here in county commission meetings. You know, we do groundwork, we knock on doors, we build relationships, right? Locally, statewide. And it's just time to figure out, how do we unite? How do we come together and address some of the issues, because it is doable. It definitely is doable. It's just, we need focus, strategy, and execution.
Right. And you know, so I started this podcast off. I always do it with a little clip of history clip of, you know, who we were as a people and what was recorded prior to where we are right now, because history tells us, you know, what we've already done.
Correct.
You know, and then also gives us an opportunity to either correct the path or keep going down that path, right? So I start off with history. That video that we just saw, right? So the video touched on the topic, you know, Black elitism in the hood, you know, the hood, D-A, the hood, you know. And we got to talk about this. And I was really, you know, I was trying to ponder who could I have this conversation with, because I wanted it to be a real conversation when we talk about Black elitism, not in a way that, you know, it's just finger pointing, but I want to give a perspective about what Black elitism is in the hood. Because when we talk about, you know, the classism that exists, Black elitism is where we start talking about the classes within our community, you know. And any kind of ism is going to, you know, divide people. You know, there's people that's here and there's people there. But, you know, this podcast, we focus on Black culture. We focus on Black issues, Black topics, Black politics, all things Black. We focus on it because I truly believe that, you know, in order for us to, you know, make the world a better place, we got to focus on ourselves. I got to fix my community, work on my community before I can, you know, try to do stuff
outside
of the community. So I bring that up to say, okay, what is your perspective of Black elitism in the hood, and what does it do for the health of the community and where we are right now?
Okay, so I'll say this. Black elitism is detrimental. It's really, really out here. My perspective is that, let's just have politicians, pastors, preachers, people in power. From my experience, these are the folks that are literally blocking the progress of communities. They're actually silencing the voices of the ground. They are in the way, and I mean in the way. but they also have this power that for some reason we haven't been able to break through, right? I also think that a lot of people in the community trust these folks, follow these folks, and are literally like giving all their power to these folks. And I challenge these folks, but it's like really, really hard to break through. I believe that some of it is just we don't understand what's really going on, but it's a real big issue. It's a real big issue. It's a real big issue.
So I think, here in Pompano, I think I got my introduction to what Black elitism is when I started my advocacy. When I started advocating for the voiceless and people who weren't being heard, myself included. I that was probably my introduction to it. But if I can think back even further as a child, what impact Black elitism have on kids in the hood, I have to identify that. I remember I have this quick story, right quick. So
Go ahead.
I like this boy in high school, right? And he was in a magnet program, so he wasn't around Pompano. I grew up right here in Pompano. I was raised up around Parkway East Apartments, which is right next to Blanchile High School, right?
Okay.
So the projects. I'm a project kid for all intents and purposes, you know? So I like this boy, right? But I'm a ghetto girl. I'm from the ghetto. I'm from the hood. I'm from Pompano, and they was bust in, you know? So with me liking this magnet kid bust in, there was this teacher, right? And this teacher, she was a Black teacher, and she's part of the D9, and there is the whole idea of, Black elitism. She's a great person, but I was told that he was pulled to the side by the teacher and said not to talk to me because I was beneath him and he could do better. So that was my introduction to, what Black elitism is, to a degree where you see one being a good stock, so to speak, and
right.
then one being beneath, right?
Correct.
And they deal with kids like this, and you see it, you see it in the way that kids pick on each other, far as type of clothing they wear or what they have. It is shown even in the schools, because we fancy our success around our ability to emulate white people, so to speak, emulate success. Like, it's the way you talk, it's the way you carry yourself.
It's like
you got to have these type of shoes, these type of
like the behavior.
Yeah,
like we talked about that. Like it's a form of behavior.
Yeah.
Like if you could fake the funk, you feel me, and behave in a way where, in other words, you folding, you bending, and you doing everything that's out of your comfort zone to somewhat fit into this thing, right?
Yeah. And I think, there's this article too that I wanted to read to you, this little excerpt right quick. It says Black elitism is a term used to address classism in the Black community, and is typically used to criticize the Black upper middle class. Obviously, there is nothing wrong with rising from unfortunate circumstances to achieve financial success, but this group is not indicted for their success. They are indicted for their consistent attempt to be exclusive, to redefine Black identity along the lines of a white canon, to demonize their own backgrounds, and to perceive themselves as superior to other Blacks. Black elitism differs from a similar phenomenon called Black male elitism, rooted in the rampant sexism in the Black community and the unwillingness of successful Black men to challenge and address their male privilege. Black male elitism is a very intricate topic and is ongoing conversation on campuses within groups of color and politics. I got that from the Choate. It's called The Lingering Effect of Black Elitism. It's an article, and I was reading over it. And, you know, when we start talking about the isms, isms open you up to all the other
All the isms,
You know, the
right,
isms,
right.
the black, you know, elitism, classism, racism, all of it comes under the isms, you know.
Right.
And two opposing things can be true. You know, I know that for me, there's no one way to get somewhere. There's multiple ways we can take to get somewhere. So I seen the black elitism here in Pompano definitely when, you know, I got involved in the advocacy, because there are people who have spoken up. Don't get me wrong. There are people who have been working towards whatever goal they have to include black people in what's happening in the economic growth of Pompano. You know, I think there's this idea a lot of gatekeepers have that it's like a zero-sum game. Like, if you get it, I can't get it.
Right. There's
You know?
enough for everybody.
Yeah, but they don't operate
no.
like that. In that video, did you hear that video at the beginning? And it talked about how these people were coming. It was like 1,600 black low-class people moving to LA, and then you have the black elite sitting there, and they've assimilated, you know. They sitting there, and they are ready to, you know, defend their way of living,
Correct.
you know. And they have this idea around a certain type of people who don't do what they do, you know. And I think that it is detrimental in the sense that, you know, typically what you have is the girls from over there come and talk to the boys from over here, you know, and vice versa, because it's a different world, it's a different view, it's a different perspective, and they're curious of why they can't go and talk or be with someone from that area. What's so wrong with people from that area? You create that interest,
Right.
even though you're trying to keep your kids away from it. And I think that's the detrimental part, because we're not allowing these kids to, people to interact and
Right.
be able to learn from each other. So with that, tell me how you feel that we can address the black elitism in a way that helps us, because it exists. It ain't no wiping it away.
Right.
So how do we use it in a way that can help us?
So that's still like challenging for me,
Why?
because I'll speak for myself. Like, I'm just my true authentic self.
Right.
Right. And I'm just not trying to, I don't know if I want to use the word conform. You know what I'm saying? And play goody two shoe or whatever it is. Cause it's like, I'm serious. Just like this certain level of like, you know what I mean?
Snobbish.
It's horrible. Like, I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, what's up? You know? And then it's this cliquish thing going on.
Yeah.
And then they to answer your question, that's a challenging one for me, because I maybe I still need to grow. I still haven't figured it out. Like, how to actually work with them to get through, to like get through them in order to make progress.
Right.
Right. I really have, like, and like I said, other people have figured it out. Right.
Right.
But I know that some of the people that have figured it out have had to bend a little and conform a little and step back, or maybe, you know, take a little check over here or take a little check over there, or advanced in their careers. You know what I mean? Like, they come in and they handle and they move up, and then they look at me like, yeah, see you later. You know what I'm saying? So
you think that, you know, the rise in certain people's career can be contributed to their ability to conform to what
all day. Really? I mean, I see it, and also, like, there's a lot of nepotism too.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel that in order for you to get to where you need to go, particularly because a lot of them are in control, they got it on lock.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you either get in where you fit in, or we're going to lock you out, point blank, period. And I haven't been able to get in where to fit in. I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just haven't, and I don't know. I feel like we need to figure out how to create our own because it's just too much going on in them spaces.
I mean, but okay, so the nepotism happens 100%. You know, all the isms.
All the isms. There's so many isms.
There's so many isms. They're
right.
just happening. All the isms. You know, when we talk about, you know, community advocacy and community activism, you know, typically we're a voice for people who don't have a voice, who aren't heard as loud as those who have the elite status, who have a title that is seen by the powers that be. I think activism plays a huge role in identifying those isms that hurt and harm people. I think we have to do more about having these types of conversations because people don't realize how they participate in an ism.
And they do, like, I've been told, like, Mona Lisa, you do such great work. You know, maybe you need to, like, tone it down.
Tone it down like what? What would you say? Why you think they tell you to tone it down? Like what?
Because I'm loud.
Because you're loud?
I'm a truth teller.
Okay.
Okay? I'm a truth teller, and I show up, and I'm loud about my truth. I'm loud about the truth. I'm loud about the truth of the community. I'm like in reality right now. Like this is what's happening right now. Y'all sitting here talking to me about all this other stuff, but it's more like you will get further along if you're not so much rough around the edges, Mona Lisa. Maybe you should, change the title to make it sound more, more enticing to the people. And, maybe just, dress up and you just tone it down. Do you know how many? I get that all the time. All the time. Your work and people love you because you love the youth and you do so much work and you're great. But maybe you should tone it down a little bit and just be more refined.
Yeah, I've gotten that too. I've gotten that too. Like, if I'm gonna be real, like I've gotten it to where Nicole Nare says, "Hey, Mona Lisa,
what's up, sis? How are you?" We watching. She out of Georgia.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
Georgia.
Shout out to Georgia.
Okay, so I've definitely been told, I could tone it down, and the thing for me is, when I used to wear the black bob, my bob, and I still might bring bob back every now and then because it's a character of mine.
Okay.
But when I wore the bob and I did the whole dress, professional,
right.
And come in and be respectful to the chambers because the way you dress and certain thing. And I realized then, even when I showed up, professional, and I spoke the King's English, and I showed up and I knew my facts. I knew what I knew, and I spoke intelligently. I'm the intelligent black.
Right. Right.
When I did that, they still didn't listen. They still didn't listen. So I'm doing all this, posturing.
Yeah, you have to. It's a whole situation. It's a whole situation.
Myself,
it's a whole situation. You gotta,
But we did it, and I can say I did it because I wanted to be a good representation for my people, my family.
Right.
And I took it as, okay, this is what, my people need to show, that we're able to handle, multi-million-dollar contracts. We're able to handle, problem solving. We're conflict resolutionists. We're not just complaining. We have to identify the problem and make sure it's a problem. But we also have solutions. And I'm thinking this is what I got to do. That ain't got shit to do with it.
No, because, okay, so why is it that people correlate suits proper behavior to managing funds? Because history will show us
them the robbers.
They're the robbers. They're the thieves. They're the incompetents, right? The liars. Yeah. Like they lie to you right in your face, and you just got to stand there and be like, oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you just gonna lie to me in my face.
Yeah.
Right. So there's this correlation between properness, because I can do that all day. I was in the courtroom. I could wear a suit all day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's just a suit.
It's
piece
a
of
suit. I can
clothes.
speak properly. You feel like I can do all that. I can do all that. But that's something that I could do. This who I am right here.
Right.
This is who I am right here, and I am competent. Right. I can do conflict resolution. I love the people. I bring solutions to the people. Like, why is it that if you talk a certain way or you dress a certain way, like all of a sudden it's less than?
Yeah.
And that be like my
But
issue.
I think, see, and here it is. This is why I think it is important when we talk about black elitism, because look at how they're showing up. If they show up like that, everybody else is expected to show up like that, you know. So I became very intentional about how I wear my hair, because I started with the afro. I popped out on the scene with the afro, going to the commission meetings when I had the slick down, the Euro bob, and I'm looking real professional,
Right.
manicured. Then I switched it up and jumped out with the afro, you know. And I went even farther now. You came out here with red locks, you know, because at no point what I wear, how I wear my hair indicates if my ability to do the job.
Correct.
Because there's people who listen. I right now there is a conversation I had with a person, a white man, and he's not the first person to tell me that. There's 3 people in my life that have told me that. Pretty much, I don't think you can do it. You know, It's 3, 2 white women, 1 white man.
All white.
The 2 white women, I already done proved them wrong. You know, that they off the list. That 1 white man. And I had to tell him, like I had to tell him, you know what? There's going to come a point in a time, in a day, where I'm going to tell you, I told you so. And I like telling you I told you so. I like saying it. I'm a Sagittarius. So when the moment comes, just know I'm going to say it. I told you, I told you, you know. Yeah. But there's a lot to be said about how black elitism is also a part of the infrastructure in our community, and how those gatekeepers come from black elitism. And that's the power you speak to, the power you speak about, them having, that they speak for the majority, all the black people, when that's not the case, because
they only speaking for a certain. I'll give you a quick story. I'll never forget this. Right. So I get a call from one of my good friends out of DC, and they're like, "Hey, something is going on at the Diplomat, and so wants you to be there. It's like this high-end situation going on, right?" So I walk in, right? I'm dressed up, looking fly. I walk in and I bump into a lot of these black elitists that I know locally. But the way they looked at me is like, what you doing here? Like, what are you doing here?
Right.
But to their surprise, I was like, hey, how y'all doing? Yeah, I'm good. But when they saw me walking all the way to the front to the executive producer, like to the people who are actually doing the event and hosting the event, they were blown away. They were like what? Like,
yeah,
like you don't belong here
because we ain't let you through. We ain't
let you through. Why are you here? Well, brothers and sisters.
Yeah,
I got the direct plug.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, authenticity, love, and intention gets you direct plugs.
Right.
Right. That's why I'm able to maneuver, because I'm like a chameleon. You see, like people, I walk in the rooms and they be like, who told her to, like, you can see, I sense it in my soul, and I'm like,
Well, I've always loved that you have that, you command that. You know, we met at the debate forum for sheriff.
Man, that was years ago.
Yeah, Scott Israel was running at it. You remember Scott Israel?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so what Scott Israel, Tony. We had some choices to listen.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, if I were to choose,
I don't like Tony. I've been very
I may
honest.
have to.
I don't like what he. Okay, I don't like the fact that your history has come into question here lately. And understand that we didn't bring your history up. The people you made a deal with before you got here brought your history up when you didn't do what they wanted you to do. Nonetheless, your history is up of what you did when you were a young man. You were a young man and you made a mistake. Okay?
But that's not applicable to others.
You made a mistake. And then we had the kid, Luca, out in Margate area where the police officer had his knee on this man's back. Not even a man, this kid. I think the kid was like 16 years old. I don't care, he's under 18, he's a kid. And I look at our kids, these are kids, these are babies. The same way when, you know, these trust fund white boys show up in a courtroom and they still refer to them as young men and kids. They see them at that, even at 22, 23, 24 years old, they're not going to ruin the rest of their lives. Correct. You wanted the state attorney to keep the charges on that young man. You wanted that. See, and then that's where it's like you lose me because you had a second chance. You look at you sheriff of one of the biggest law enforcement,
Lord have mercy, and
organizations
the
in the country.
And the budget.
And your budget is almost $500 million. Okay, so with you having that second chance and to get your life to a point, but they still bringing it back up on you now, but you didn't have that for a young man that you should have been able to see that there was a mistake there. That's why he lose me at.
But this the thing though. That's a lot of people, like they've been through stuff and things just don't like, okay, I went through it, you know, I was given an opportunity, but it just don't apply to you.
Yeah, but
like, I don't get that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's where you lose me. Like you lose me on, you know, supporting you for that position. Don't mean I want bad for you. Don't mean I think you're a bad person or anything. It's just for that position, I don't trust that you will be fair because you didn't have it for this young man, and you need compassion right now with what you're going through. You know, you're gonna start campaigning, and then you know we got election time coming up. So
election 2024, y'all. Y'all better. It's everybody running. The state attorney running, the public defender running, all the districts in Pompano running, the sheriff's running.
Yeah. The only one not running is the governor. The governor here, 2026, and then we got to talk about that too because he can't run again. That's it for him. So where do we go? He came through Florida like a Category 8 hurricane.
Does that even exist?
It don't even exist. He's
Category,
going through Florida right now. He ripping Florida to shreds. Nonetheless, we're not going to talk yet about DeSantis. Yes. But yes, the politics, black politics. So we do have a lot of elections coming up.
Yes, we do.
So what do you think is where is our struggle right now coming up to 2024? Election time. Where is our opportunity, and how do we capitalize on that?
All right. So the struggle is, and I'll speak locally. Everybody in survival mode, right? With the housing crisis, with inflation, with the food prices, with just everything in general. Like we are in severe survival mode. That is a huge struggle because it does not allow for the other two. So that is of huge concern to me, like the voter turnout. What is it going to look like? We can't even get enough people's attention to even educate, to let them know exactly what's going on and how you can be part of the opportunity. I speak to a lot of people about what's going on here in Pompano with the new downtown project. Right. And although it's long term, there's opportunities to stay. There's opportunities to have businesses. There's opportunities to have housing. But the survival mode that people are stuck in, it's It's a huge situation, Sarika.
Yeah.
It's a huge situation.
Absolutely.
And I'm concerned overall period about elections, right? Do people even care based on the fact that their circumstances haven't even changed, right? So you go out and vote and vote and vote, but circumstances have not changed.
Right.
So there has to be some form of pivot and some form of, I don't even want to call it deep education because people's mind is not there, right? This is things that I just think about like on a regular, you know what I mean? How do we combat that? Right now, locally, I'm base building in Pompano with an elder and really trying to educate her because she has like a whole bunch of family members and people that come to her constantly, and then working on educating her family members to figure out how to unite, at least to bring people to the commission meetings to understand what's going on, to understand that this is a long-term situation. Now, there's some short-term fights, right, that we can organize and kind of like hit the head, you know, with a hammer and get things done. But that's like local temporary things. We're talking about long-term, you know, allocations for mental health, allocations for economics, allocations for housing, all this other stuff. And one of the only ways that we can do it is showing up. Right. Given the times of sometimes of the commission meetings, like people can't show up because they got to be to work.
Right.
So how, as a collective, can we do this? I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, before it used to be, we had leaders.
Child.
You know, we had leaders. We had the Malcolms and the Martins and the Metgers and all of them that would show up to the meeting and speak of the concerns and the things that the community wants in trust.
Right.
Because they would show up that, hey, the community trusts me. I'm coming on behalf of the community. Do you think we have leaders now?
No.
We don't have any leaders?
You mentioned Malcolm. You mentioned Dr. Martin Luther King. You mentioned like the soldiers. The soldiers, to me, those are the soldiers of the Most High. You know, those were people who were actually concerned about the community in real life, and barely benefited. Right? Barely benefited. They did it from the bottom of their heart, their soul. They were killed for this. We don't have those type of leaders. I don't believe. I mean, outside of me and you and a few others that are on the ground. So what I'm trying to teach people is, especially those like from the outside looking in, look for the ground leaders that are being like oppressed and suppressed and everything pressed, because your leaders that you see, your so-called politicians, your so-called preachers, those leaders that we think are leaders, they're not the leaders. They're actually the gatekeepers. You know what I'm saying? They're keeping us out. Right? They're keeping the community out. They're keeping the resources out. They're allocating the resources to where it benefits them, their families, their legacy, their future generations, their businesses. So that's why we're somewhat of a situation. I am called problematic.
You're problematic?
I'm problematic.
Really?
Yeah. I'm problematic.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you're solution oriented.
I am.
I do. I think you're solution oriented.
That's what I think too, but since I don't go with the flow.
Yeah, but you know, nobody who makes history goes with the flow.
Right.
You know, so it's okay.
You're
in good company.
I'm fine. I'm completely. I learned many years ago. Like, okay, Mo, listen, you a little different. You know.
Yeah, and different doesn't just mean that, you know, you're so one directional with what you're doing. I think anybody in a position of leadership has to be a good listener and an even better student, because you're always in a position to learn something from everybody. Every encounter that you come about, you are in a position to learn something, right? I think too, a lot of our advocacy has to be, we got to pivot a lot. I'm saying we got to pivot a lot.
Yeah, we do.
our big pivot now, and I think I'm hearing it more, but I hate when I start hearing stuff more on social media because it gets to be a cliche. But accountability.
Lord, I am
Okay.
so tired of that word. I be asking the higher ups. Well, what is accountability? How are we supposed to hold people accountable? They could barely answer the question. that been a word been used for years. I've been asking questions. Well, okay,
Accountability.
Accountability. How we hold elected officials accountable? How we hold these organizations accountable?
Yeah.
Right? Tell me something.
Yeah. I mean, the accountability is gonna look different depending on what the situation is. And the accountability requires truth tellers.
Yes, ma'am. Ooh.
It requires truth tellers. It
Oh.
requires people who don't mind being the one that say, you messing it up for the ones of us that's in here. They ain't gonna let no more of us in here. They let one or two of us in here.
Right.
They ain't gonna let no more of us in here.
Right.
And
Too loud.
y'all too loud. Y'all too loud. And that's so not true. That's so not true. And there's such a we have a generation that has been fighting for civil rights for so long, and civil rights, equity, not even equity, equality, fighting for equality, and inequality still puts us behind because we don't have the money to maintain the equality. You made us equal without the money to keep up.
Right.
The quality of life.
We're so behind.
And and that's a generation that fought for that, but we are now a generation that has to fight for equity and understand our our financials.
Correct.
And where we are as an individual, as a family, as a community. Where are we? Because you have to think that way. And I really hope people understand how much you have to think about what's your individual financial situation, what's your family situation, what is your community situation financially, because your taxes, you paying your water bill, things like that, all of that, you have rights in your local government, and they are required to do things, and there's a budget allocated towards your quality of life.
Correct.
In this city, and if you're not showing up, you don't know how that money is being spent. Your elected officials, they're handling the business of the city. That's what they're doing. They're handling the business of the city.
Yep.
Okay? So their budget is bigger than your budget, but just like your budget, they got the budget for everything. They have the budget for things that come up out of nowhere, and they have resources. They have a team. You don't have a team, and you still got a budget. So it's so important that you show up and hear what's going on with the business of the city, especially if you have a business in the city. You should want to know what is happening with the business of the city, and I have a business in this city. Election time is a great time to get involved.
Yeah, and apply pressure.
It's a great time. That's why I say that's the opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. One thing I learned was election season. If you want something, like organize, mobilize, put pressure, and now I'm more understanding like holding people accountable. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's like vote them out.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about like like all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like all that other stuff I don't know what people be talking about. It's just like if we vote you in, you don't handle your business, like you just need to be voted out. Ain't no second chances. Okay? Cuz people don't like to get second chances.
There are certain seats don't have term limits. Depending on what city you're in, they don't have term limits. You can run for as long as you want to, certain seats do have term limits. But I do think it is beyond time that, especially the Black community, we stop pledging allegiance to political parties.
Yes.
And to candidates. pledge allegiance to the cause. We want the money. If you figure out how to get us the money, align us to the equity conversations, the equitable business opportunities in our city where we've already been doing business and there's already been debts paid and there are debts due to us. You have to be able to, from your seat, compromise and negotiate to get us at the table. That's the truth of the matter, especially if you're in a district, if you live in a city where your elected official and that dais does not reflect you. If you're in Pompano, the dais, there are 6 people on the dais. We have 1 black city commissioner on that dais. Last year we had 2. We had Cindy Floyd, who beat the incumbent at that time, which was Barry Moss, and he turned around and ran again the next year and beat her. And the amount of black people that showed up to support Barry Moss, that first initially supported Cindy Floyd. You can ride down Kaya City and you'll see the signs. You know, that's the division you see, where this city, this neighbor is with this commissioner and this neighbor is with this commissioner. And don't get me wrong, you know, all skin folk ain't kin folk. I'm not just saying you should vote for somebody because they black. This is the truth of the matter, that Barry Moss didn't just win. Barry Moss didn't come back and win his seat without black people voting for him.
Correct.
You know, he had Palmer. He gets Palmer. Palmer is an area where a lot of retirees, condo owners.
Yeah, I'm aware of Palmer.
Over there in Palmer. So, you know, they show up. They're religious voters. But she was able to win because Kaya City showed up and voted. That's how she won the first. They showed up. They didn't show up again. And then they split the vote.
There's definitely so much power on the ground. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, it drives me nuts. It's so much power on the ground. And my hopes is that the ground supersedes the religious, right?
Yeah.
If we could break through that religious voting thing,
yeah,
we would see like drastic change.
Yeah, I'm for you know, the voter blocks. I'm really big on, you know, creating those voter blocks and being able to vote interest based. You know, we're voting based on your interest, because you know what happens when you go election day. Election day, you show up to any hood and they got the Christmas tree cards where, you know, here they hand out your cards and you just go in there and you just
And
vote
so
for this
blindly,
person.
so blindly.
And, you know, ain't nobody read them amendments. You don't know this person.
Nothing,
You coming in, and that's what happens in our community a lot, because you think about it, the amount of educated voters that we have.
Nah, they just voting just to vote. But so here's the thing, it's like, go vote, 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 right? Go vote, yeah, go vote, go vote. Yeah, but vote for what and for who and why?
Yeah, because depending on who's telling me to vote, you're gonna tell me what to vote for, and what that you telling me to vote for this is the interest that is serving for you. I do think there needs to be conversation with why I'm telling you to vote for this person and what interest is going to serve me, and those who are like me in my position. I would tell you to vote for. Like, I ain't never told nobody to vote for nobody. I just told people who not to vote for.
Okay.
I ain't never told nobody go vote for this person. Just don't vote for this person.
Right.
And he only had one other person running against him.
So you already know. You pretty much saying it without saying it, right?
Saying, don't.
But here's the kicker, though, right? And I don't know how this came about. So the last couple of elections, I get a lot of people that hit me up asking me who to vote for. So I'm like,
yeah, people ask me
so
too.
I'm like, am I becoming a trusted voice?
Yes.
For, you know what I mean? Like, how did that happen, right?
Yes.
But there's been a lot of reflection going on with
Yeah.
me, right? With the journey, because remember, I didn't come into this advocacy in politics.
Right.
It was
Me neither.
Right. It was
Me neither.
criminal justice, the youth,
The arts.
right, advocating for people on probation, right, teaching our people proactive methods, how to maneuver through the system, because I saw a lot of injustices. So next thing you know, I'm just like, how did I get involved in all this political stuff? But it came from community work.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I don't know when it was several years back, me and my community partner, we was doing events in Liberia, right? And we bringing 200-300 people out. And then I'm seeing like folks showing up that don't look like us. So I'm like asking one of my homegirls, you know, she's in politics, this white lady. I'm like, yo, why is people showing up to, like, I'm not understanding what's going on. So she was teaching me the correlation between numbers. If you're bringing people out in numbers, the politicians are watching you now because those are votes. So she had to sit me down because I was lame in the game, okay?
Yeah.
I was lame in the political game. And I'm an expert in criminal justice and what I do, right? What God has told me to do. So being lame in the political game, I became very like, what y'all want? Why are you here? You know what I'm saying? Because you're not contributing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So you finna ask me about your vote. You know, I'm running for this. I don't even know you.
Yeah.
I don't even know you. And my face, for the most part, is very clean. And, sir, ma'am, I don't know you. And you're telling me, what? Vote for who and what? You know what I'm saying? So that's how that whole thing started. And that's what led me to, like...
Hey, Travell, what's up?
That's what kind of led me to, like, learning more and more and more. And then I bump into all these elite people, right? And then
They're all in the same.
My heart is broken, literally.
Yeah.
There's a pastor that'll sit down and tell you I done cried and cussed him out a couple times because I'm like, what is actually happening and going on? Like, I thought people actually cared about the community. Like, I thought these folks in charge care about the community.
So I'm glad you brought that point up because you was like saying, hey, Rhonda, that's my sister right there. What's up?
Hey, hey, Travell.
Listen, so I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, you just mentioned about these people showing up, right? And how you think people care.
Yeah.
You think people care.
I was so hurt.
So...
crying like a bitch.
Let me tell you.
Help me, Father.
It's heartbreaking because we hear this term being thrown around right now. So, you know, Pompano is getting ready to go through, is going through major redevelopment, right?
Yes.
So the new downtown Pompano is, you know, on a path to be built in the next 10 years, right? And the term that gets thrown up, and we notice that it gets thrown up right about now, gentrification.
Yep.
You know, that term gets thrown up right about now. But this is where accountability got to come in, right?
Okay.
This is my part. This is where I'm going to insert here because I'm a project kid, right? I'm part of the great American experience of the projects. Let's put all the low-income people in one area in a project and let's see how they make that work, right? And that's where I'm from, right?
Me too.
Okay.
Me too. Yes, ma'am.
So, hey, Mr. Walker.
Hey, Mr.
Walker. So I'm from there. Now, gentrification happens when the black elites who had the money and the connections to buy up property in the hood, to bank property and land in the hood, eminent domain became unlawful in 97. So, of course, that was a help to getting the property. But after 97, here we are. We coming up on 2027 in a couple years. So we could say probably a good 30, 40 years, right? The accountability has to be both ways. Because, yes, there is some encroachment into our community. But goddamn it, it's some people that's helping them get there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because
Yes,
you
ma'am.
cannot just blame the conditions on the community on one side of the coin.
Right.
It's two sides.
It's definitely.
It's two sides of the coin. So, definitely there are people who I grew up with who have gone on to do great things. And most of the time our good people, our prodigies, our smart people, what happened? They leave the hood.
Mm-hmm.
They traumatize, they leave. They don't come back, And those who do come back, they come back in a space of having to, fight. Now, if you're not part of the in crowd or the elites, you got to get through that, right? That doesn't happen. That doesn't just happen. Gentrification don't just happen because you got white people moving in. You got black people who also made it very easy.
Right. They're part of the process of
They
gentrification.
made it very easy.
They're part of the process.
So that accountability for us has to take where we have that conversation. We say, okay, yeah, this is not right. You think people care. You think people are negotiating. We can't have Lotus mindset. And our idea around Lotus mindset is that it's a bottom-up approach.
Yes.
That people from the bottom are getting up and coming up.
Yes.
So that puts the responsibility and the onus on the people at the bottom. I get it. We all been down. I know what it's like to come from nothing, but you got to get up. Ain't no excuses, baby. Get up. I know you on depressed a little bit, but okay,
we
get
have
up.
no
I
other
know
choice.
but
We
get
have no
up
other choice.
because ain't nobody coming to
Right,
save
save
you.
us, right.
I'm here to tell you.
Right.
Ain't nobody coming to
But
save
here's
you.
when you talk about get up, right? Like we're no longer like back in the days. There's technology now.
Of
There's
course.
ways like we could flood these commission meetings with
Yeah.
emails and phone calls, right from your cell phone. Like
Yeah.
use your like there's ways to get things done
Mm-hmm.
where the people at the top get so bombarded and tired that it's all right. Like okay,
Yeah.
what is it?
What can we do?
What can we do to
Well,
solve
you
this
have our
issue?
attention.
You have,
and
yeah.
I've seen it. Listen, I've been
That's
at a
what I'm
commission.
saying,
I've
yeah.
been at a commission meeting and I seen about 100 people show up in red shirts and take up a meeting for about 3 hours. Demanded to take up that meeting for 3 hours on audience to be heard. We ain't touch none of the agenda, just audience to be heard.
That's what it is.
And you know what they was talking about?
What?
Cats.
Stop.
Cats. They don't want the cats to be neutered.
What?
Yes.
Hold on, they don't start the whole commission meeting.
Yeah,
The
no,
whole
they-
agenda.
they-
The agenda was switched for some.
It wasn't switched. Audience to be heard. They give you 3 minutes to speak, and you show up and you sign up. They was there. They had their red shirts on, and they were all signed up. It was a serious issue about cats. And this is what I'm saying. They were able to get from that meeting the attention. They ended up getting a meeting with the city manager after that.
Oh.
They were able to get some things done because they ain't been back to the meeting. They ain't been back. If they didn't get what they want, they would have came back. If they was able to organize them 100 people with them red shirts, you know how much organization you got to have
Right.
to get everybody.
And let's talk about, them red shirts cost money. So we need some funding to get the red shirts.
So let's talk about these PACs because that's typically where most of that funding comes from, right? We don't have PACs.
Right.
We don't have PACs that political PACs that we have the money to put behind the candidates that are going to speak for us.
Right, because that's what other people do.
That's what other people do.
Other people do. So
I'm just saying.
The strategies that are in place are so powerful, right? And again, with the political world, I'll say I'm a newbie, right? But I'm extremely intelligent and I pick up very quickly,
Yeah.
right? And we must get involved. Right, we have no other choice at this point
It's
because
imperative.
I have seen like people power. I'll be like, oh, that really worked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
imperative.
Like I'll be like, oh, this is for me. See, because I was one of those that like, man, I ain't finna vote. Like that stuff don't work. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not, nah, I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? Like I've not voted on like my own interests. Like, you know what I'm trying? Like I was on that ignorant stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I started to get politically involved and when I'm seeing how things maneuver and how things work and how you can sit at tables and you know when the contracts are coming out and you're supposed to submit RFPs, which is request for proposals and all these other things, and that brings economics, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Like we don't know any of this because we're not sitting at nobody's table.
Right.
We're not going to any of these meetings in the middle of the day at 10 o'clock in the morning, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And when you really start to see what's going on and you start to see how things operate, like I've had to go home a whole bunch of times. I'm like, yo, this is really doable and possible.
Yeah.
Like, because if they can do it, we can do it. But the difference is they are like strategically organized and heavily involved. But here's one thing. They learn from when they jits. You
Yes.
feel me? Where we're voting what? Like
Yeah.
who, what? What?
Yeah. And then we've historically been voting one way.
Right.
You know, so it's the Democratic Party, they just inherited our vote. They just, we got them. We ain't even got to worry about them. We got them. You know? So I think that, you know, the Democratic Party Mr. Walker say tables are where covenants are sealed. Yeah, that's true. That's what a deal made. That's exactly what it's true. It's true. You think about it. Listen, I have my company, the Roundtable Project. I've had for 12 years now, and I started the Roundtable Project because I wanted to create a table where you ever seen King Arthur? I'm sorry. I like movies and stuff like that, but King Arthur, he was the king.
Okay.
But when they went to the round table, and this is where, you know, all the knights and all of his trusted advisors would come to this table. It was a round table to strategize. When that door closed, he weren't the king. He wasn't the king. He, at this table, this round table, he's not the king. Everybody's equal at this table because it's round. But they left that table with a direction and a decision. The king carried it out, but it was all discussed at this table. And that round table allows for everybody to have a say, an equal say on the direction we're going. But when we walk out here, the king is going to carry it out, right? That was my reason for starting calling it the Round Table Project, because I wanted people that work with me, because I know I operate, I like being by myself personally, but I operate and I'm a better worker, a better visionary when I have a good team around me. So I want people that want to work with me, and I want to work with them. Like, I don't got nobody who work for me. I want people that work with me. You know, I don't want employees. Like, let's have some partners. Correct. You know, so you know the equity in this working is going to be beneficial to you just as much as it's beneficial to me. You know. Be careful what table you eat from. Respect your table. There are rules set at every table. Yes, it is.
Mr. Walker going in today.
Yes, he is. Yes.
Mr. Walker be getting it in.
I'm big on, you know, like I say, the direction and solutions for us and what we're doing in the community, because we got to have a direction to go when we start talking about the politics, right? Because people have their ideas around voting, and it's very sensationalized now with presidency and Trump, since Trump and everything. Not even since Trump, since Obama, honestly, the sensationalization around the presidency, I've never seen it like that. I ain't never.
And one thing I'll say, and it's, we need to be focusing on local and state.
Absolutely.
Right? The presidents are in charge of the military and all this stuff. Like we need to get away from, and that's all a distraction while all these local things are happening, and while monies is being removed from black communities, because slum and blight, let's make it straight, it is strategically created.
Yeah.
Right. And I just want to let like the people know that focus on your local elections and on your state representatives. I was just in Tallahassee. Look at me, girl, lobbying.
I see you.
You feel me? I was like, oh, wait a minute.
I see
you. Feel me? I'm sitting here lobbying like for voting rights still. Like, damn, still
For
we
voting
still,
rights.
we still on that. Like, so we have to start learning who your state representatives are, your Senate, your House, who's your mayor. The mayor's in charge in most cities of the police department. So there's issues with the police, you need to be targeting your mayor. See what I'm saying? And then your local commissioners, because they're the ones that make the decisions on the stop sign, how many trees finna be on the block.
Yeah.
You know, right now they're cut the floors. Every little decision is made off of these meetings.
Yeah.
And another thing that I want to say too is, when you're dealing with districts, like sometimes we'll say, well, we voted so and so in and nothing has changed. Well, we have to start understanding like the voting process. If there's five people in the district, is a 3-2 vote. If it's 6 people, is a 4-2. So you have to start having it. Everything has to be strategically done, and we have to remove these people with these elitist mindsets from the equation. We need
How do you remove them though? That's the question.
How about that? Sarika, we finna put you in
how
office.
do you
We gonna put Sarika in office.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Let me tell you what I know.
No. Listen.
Listen.
Let's go ahead and get that on record right now.
No.
No.
Because I remember I got a call, right? I got a call a couple years back by like 7 brothers. They were like, so Mona Lisa, we're all sitting here at this table thinking about that you should run for office.
Yeah, I done got that call.
No.
But I'm not doing it.
See, but then, okay, then who? We need the person who truly cares about the community.
But that's the question. That's the thing, to say someone truly cares or not care about the community, you got to be so far involved to see what they're not doing and what they're not saying to say that about them. Because from the outside, a lot of people think that nobody cares. No elected officials care. No advocates care. Nobody, because you're not getting to them, and there are more people at the bottom than there are at the top.
Yes.
Okay.
That's how we could take over.
There are more people at the bottom than there are at the top. And then there's more fear at the bottom than there is at the top, right? And you got people who, like you say, we got these survival mode that everybody is in. In survival mode, you got, the unhoused, I think they're calling them the working unhoused, people who don't have homes, but they have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And they can't afford housing,
right?
Let alone food and gas and insurance and all. And then inflation is just, it's a joke right now.
Out of control.
So you have all of these things. This is affecting people at the bottom. It's heavy on them. So like you say, when we come up to this election, you got people who are going to have to decide, am I going to stand in the line to vote, and is this vote going to help make my situation better right now? And that's why a lot of people lean to, I hear it now, so a lot of the misinformation in Trump's campaign, it has thrived off of misinformation and thrived off of branding and being able to capture the hopeless.
Right.
They have captured them with giving them a glimpse of hope. When you have people who say, well, Trump gave us the stimulus. Like, Trump did give you the stimulus though, but enough people start saying it.
It spreads like wildfire.
It spreads like wildfire. And guess what Trump don't do? Trump ain't gonna come and say, no, I ain't do that.
Right.
I ain't do that. And so we have people who are going to be needing basic necessities. And that's your vote. That's your bigger vote for us. That's our bigger voter base. That's where your voter base from. You have people who will sit there and literally go into an area where people are lights may be off, starving and everything, and then go in there and talk to them about come and vote.
You know, I done been cussed out several
vote.
times. Yeah, I done been
Come
cussed
vote.
out. Yeah, I done been
You know?
cussed out a lot on the ground. Just even trying to educate. You know, and I feel them. Sometimes I be like, man, bump it all. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But once you know, you know. Once you understand the amount of money that these counties and cities have and they're not being allocated properly.
Right.
Like, we got to push through. We have to figure it out. We got to push
I get
through.
it. I'm with you. Listen, I'm with you, sis, when you're right, because we're definitely in a critical time.
State of emergency.
Right now, and we have to really mobilize people to come out and participate. And it's really a chess move, you know, and you don't want to make a move that is going to be detrimental to, you know, you winning and us getting what we want. You don't, you know. But you got to understand that the majority of the people that are going out to vote are uneducated voters.
Correct.
They're uneducated voters. So, who has the influence over those uneducated voters? Who has the influence over them? Because the person who has the influence over them, that's the person who is going to be targeted by these campaigns to go and say, hey, vote for this person because you're part of this. And there has to be a level of accountability on those influencers too. Especially if, you know, that trickle down get to you, but it don't get no further down.
Correct.
You know, it has to be able to bottom up approach. It has to allow for the economics and the wealth to be spread to everybody. Right now, you got too many people struggling. And one thing about it, boy, I learned that working at the prison. Anytime that they decide that they want to take over, it's more of them than it is us. It's more of them than it is of us.
I just found out what happened in Haiti. So
yeah. So I wanted to make sure. Listen, we are talking about the issues in our community, like in a real space, in a real solution base. That hey, we gotta mobilize. We gotta get people out to vote. We gotta get people to come to the meetings to participate and be involved. You know, because it's our children's future.
But here's the thing too, though, because we always talk about voting. There's so many other sections of voting, right?
Right.
When we're talking about like the meetings, we also have to sit at the table, but we also have to train our children, our youth on building businesses, because a lot of these cities, a lot of these corporations have contracts, right? A lot of the municipalities, the state attorney's office, the public defender's office, like all these people have contracts, right, that can be given out to community. Now we're dealing with economic empowerment. Imagine people having their businesses being certified, having proper, you know, their whole business structure, and they get a city landscaping contract.
Right.
That's life-changing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, we have to start thinking business, economics, and really imparting this knowledge in the youth, and how does it tie to politics?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's deeper than just going out and voting.
Yeah,
Right?
always.
And I think the word voting is just kind of played out. Right? Particularly on the ground, because it's like, okay, and then what? Right?
Vote and then what? Right.
Right, vote and then what? So we have to really, I think, economics, but learning how to build your businesses and having good customer service and like, you know what I'm saying? Like a solid business foundation, businesses that you're actually, you know, getting there on time and doing things, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have a lot of work to do as well.
Absolutely.
Right? Because if not, we're always going to be left out, right? Because the power, there's a lot of power there.
Yeah.
And I'll give you, and I talked to you recently about two brothers that I called and come to find out, like, I just needed a space, right? To empower community in a particular city. And when the brothers had asked me about these two different gentlemen, but we were all on a three-way call. And I, hey, how you doing? I was referred to you guys because I need a community space. Well, what do you want to do? Well, I want to bring the community and talk to them about local politics and teach them how to use their voice and empower them to speak, right? And to organize. Oh, no, we do that. You know what I'm saying? And like literally I was completely shut down. But as the conversation's going, I'm like, I think I'm talking to the gatekeepers. Like,
Yeah.
I think, because why wouldn't you want to? And then when I asked, well, do you empower the people to speak up for themselves? Oh, no, we do that. That's too much for them to handle.
Yeah.
Right. So your status, you're so consumed in your status that you look down on people and say it's too much for them to handle. So it's too much for people to handle, for them to learn how to speak for themselves for what they want. This the mindset of these folks.
Yeah. Well, that's black elitism for you, So listen, we're going to definitely continue this conversation, but y'all, we had to make sure we had this conversation tonight, but we're going to continue. And I think it's always a part 2 in all of these conversations that we have, because they are not just one-time conversations. You should be having these conversations with the people around you, because they are real issues in your community. I don't care where you are, any black community across this country. Yeah. You are having some of these same issues. So, if you like this, please subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you get involved in your local elections, your local and state, county elections, and pay attention, get organized, collaborate, because we need each other more than we think we do. We got some commercials we gonna play. Well, actually one we gonna play right now, because if you got any music and you got a business and you want to promote your business and start promoting it here on the Bottom Up Podcast, y'all need to hit us up, because this is where we're doing it at. As always, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Mona Lisa, thank you
You're
for
welcome,
coming
sis.
through.
I
appreciate
dearly.
you. But we're gonna continue our conversation.
And thank you for all you do.
Man, listen, I love what I do.
Me
That's
too.
the thing. I love what I do.
I love what I do.
So,
yeah.
But I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Steph, you gonna play us out? All right, boy, listen. So, I thought you was gonna say the name.
Oh, it's just a game. Let's play. Let's stay. Let's get high. All up in the stuff like we stars in the sky. Light signs, love lines, written by the hands of God at one time. One time, two times.
Tell me, Neo, will you come back for me? Or let me sleep in a bed of lies because you're too afraid to face your fears with us? There's no need to fight each other. Too many secret agents sent out to destroy us. We're not each other's enemy. We love God, life, time, and our family. Well, not all of them, but you know the ones that stood in the fire with you, them Shadrach, Meshachs, and Abednegos. Our number one goal is to be free of all the negativity. Ain't no bad vibes around here. There's no need to fake it around me, because I know what it